Hello, everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to do a session on cryptocurrencies. Now, the big thing is that cryptocurrency has all moved. So one of these things we have to look at is their value now, where again, and is there sort of more upside on the likes of these? Now, we have seen that Bitcoin has sort of taken off here from the 13th of October. So that's where you could argue sort of here September, but it's been moving sideways, hasn't really moved. And then from say the 13th of October, it's or the 15th, it has taken off. And in that period of time, it is gone from here up, which is 36% up to where it is right this second. Now, question is there reason to get in there again? Now, we know historically when the cryptocurrencies move, they move massively. They generally take off, they go, there's no holding it back, it just continues. So let's have a little look into this and see is there room for this to go more? Okay. Now, the reason this has sort of taken off is the exact same as I've done here, and it's called CFD trading. So in the UK, you can only trade crypto under as an underlying asset. So you can't CFD trade it. Now, if you have brokers that are regulated in offshore entities like the SISEC and ASEC, okay, then you can trade them as CFDs. But beware, be careful when you're trading the likes of these on an offshore license. Just make sure that they have entities here in the UK and that you're also covered by their banking. Make sure their banking's in the UK and stuff like that there. So this is a trade that I took. We're looking for this retest. Had this horizontal level, it retested back down here. Entry was here, stop loss was below this low, and I went up and I hit a 1-to-1 on it. So I was risking 1% to make 1%. So in that particular scenario, if I was risking £100, I'd make £100. If I was risking 1,000, I'd make 1,000. So for me, the next trade on this here, so this is where this horizontal has come from. So if we look at this and pinch this down a little bit, this is the level that we're looking at. So we have a bounce there. We have a sort of a fake out there. And there's also a little small one in here as well. Okay, so if we zoom in, you'll see it a little bit better. So it bounces there not very well, but it again bounces here. It's broken through this area, bounce there, and again there's another bounce there. There's another one here. Now the problem with that is that it's not the cleanest level in the world. Okay, it's not the cleanest level in the world. Let me have a quick look at the weekly, see if there's anything else there, and there is not. Okay, so that's the only data we're sort of going off is there is we have a bounce here, we have a bounce there, and a bounce there. So we have some historical data that's bounced off before. Okay, so what we're looking for now is if I drop back down to the daily chart, zoom out to show you the level. So that's the one there. So what I'm looking for now is this to retest a little bit. Now, the thing with trading is we need momentum to come back. We need it. We need momentum to come back to have a little rest and then go again. Now, we don't always get this with cryptocurrency. So for me, the next trade I'm looking at is there. This has to come back to there. Now, one of the things that people will look at when we're using these is Fibonacci. So we'll be looking at this and we're looking for a retracement. Now, if we come back to here, this is only a retracement. It's not quite a 38.2. Okay, so that's the first sort of area we would look this to come back to when we're looking at this. So that's the only negative about this. So we may get it to drop a little bit lower. Now, if it breaks this level and goes down to here, then there's a high probability it'll continue back down here to the 50%. Okay, so if it holds here, then there's a potential trade along. If it breaks here and comes back to the 38.2, I'd probably expect it to come a little further down to the 50%. Now, with the likes of Fibonacci and stuff like that, it's never 100%. It's never guaranteed. but there's probabilities in it. It's the same as with horizontal levels, support and resistance. There's always things there to actually look at. So for me, entry here. Now, when I'm entering the market, I'm always entering above the bar and then below the bar. So in that particular scenario, if I was taking this as a long position, my entry, so this line here is my entry, it is above the bar, and my stop loss goes below the bar. So see that there? If that was the bar that finished, there's a little bit of daylight above it, there's a little bit of daylight below it, and that's how I enter the market. I don't look to enter the market any other way, and I would be looking to potentially be out of the market there. That'd be the first target, and the second target will be up around here, so 278. Okay, so that would be the idea, and that's what I'll be looking for on that trade. Now, obviously, there are more cryptocurrencies other than BTC. Now, if we look at XRP, so XRP was sitting in this channel for a year and a half, and then it sort of took off here when the court case looked like they were going to win. And then after the court case was settled, look, it came the whole way back to here. I wanted to hit this level and bounce up. It didn't. It kept coming through here and then moved sideways. Now, again, with this same scenario, it had a triple bottom there and then took off. So for me, the same scenario has to play out here. I needed to come back. Now, I needed to come back sort of to this level. Now, it may not, it may come a little bit deeper. It may come into this sort of soft level that we have here. So we have a little bit of a floor at this area here. And it may come the whole way back down to there. Can't guarantee that this is going to be the area, but if it breaks this floor, here is the next level for me. Then here, and then the last one is down here. So they are the areas that we're looking for this to hit and then sort of bounce off. If we look at XLM as well, look, it came back and hit this floor. So this was a really clean entry. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Came back into that with that area 8 times. Really, really nice level. Hopped up. And look, it's hit this ceiling. Look, there's 1, 2, 3. There's a triple top here. It's hit. And the question is that, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 touches on this. So the question is now, is this now going to turn around and come back down here? Or are we getting the next momentum to the upside? Now, again, that's a $64 million question, but the probability is you'd expect it to come back down to here. Solana, like I said before, Solana took off. And if we look at the same time period as about the 13th, which here, up here, Solana is 176% up. Okay, so anyone that took that long, well done. Good trade. But the idea here is it's once Bitcoin took off, it's trying to find these altcoins that are going to move. Now we've just looked at XRP has moved a little bit. We looked at XLM that's moved a little bit, but none of them have moved at the same pace as Solana. So does that mean then Solana is the one with the most liquidity? Is this the one where everyone seems to be jumping on? Well, potentially. And if I look at that there, if a bounce there, and there. So the question is, if that comes back to this area here, is that the next buying zone on this? But remember, this has to line up with what Bitcoin is doing. This has to line up with what Bitcoin is doing. Shiba, a little bit more difficult to actually work on this one. It sort of came back into this floor here, almost touched it, and then popped up. But if we look at it from a different perspective, there's a trend line there, or a trend line here, whichever way you want to look at it. And then at this particular point, there's a potential short. Okay, so bounce. You could even put that up there, and then go, well, look here, Henry, it's hit the ceiling, hit it here again, hit it here, and now short that down into this area. So there is that also. Matic, again, Matic has had a really nice pop to the upside. Took this trade short and had a winner at just under, slightly under a 1-to-1 there at this particular point. Wanted it to actually go down the whole way down to here, and it didn't. It hit this floor 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then it took off. And that's where that's gone. Again, now I'm looking for it to pull back into this area and see the level that we have here. And if it pulls back into there, that's the next buying zone on this. Litecoin. So Litecoin hasn't gone as much as some of the other crypto. So if we look at this low to here, it's up 20%. Up to the top was 28%. So again, I've looked for this to come back down to here. And if it comes there, that's the next buying zone. But are there? That's the true area that it's bounced from before. Level 1, 2, 3. So there's a decent sort of floor there at that point. And then let's see if it bounces at either of those two areas. Linkcoin, look, I had an order on this already. And I was looking for it to hit profit here. It had come back down, wanted it to go up and do exactly what I expected it to do, but it kicked off like this. So yes, I got a 1-to-1 out of this quite easily, but then it just took off. And we'll go from there up to where it is now is 110%. It went up to a high of 140%, just under. Now again, so we have Solana and we have Linkcoin, our chain link, which has taken off. Now the problem with the likes of this is that because it's had such a spike, you'd expect this to come the whole way back down. Is what's the rationale behind this sort of taking off? Now I could go, there's a horizontal level there, which there is. Right there, horizontal right there. And if price comes back to there, the next buy. Now, the problem with this is that it's not a high probability trade. I wanted to come back into here before we look at it to take off. But again, it has to come down to BTC sort of taking off. That's the big movement on this. This is the catalyst. Ethereum had a really nice move, and Ethereum, to be fair, is an overall upward trend where the other ones have not been doing that. But this is an overall upward trend since June 2022. It's been slowly heading upwards, which is really, really promising. Now, what we're looking for is it to come back and hit this level here, and then we're looking for it to take off as well. Now, the problem with that is that if it comes back to here, is this pullback deep enough for us to be taking that trade? Is it deep enough? And at this present moment, for me, it's not. I would like it to come back probably into this area here and then take off. So for me, there's no trade there, even if it takes off right now. EOS again had that triple bottom there and then took off. But again, it's a downward trend. It's not something I'll be looking to trade. And I would expect that to come back into sort of this area or even come back to this floor here. Cardano, absolutely traded this one massively over the years. It's come back to this level of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. Boom. Now, I wanted that to happen here. So we had this descending wedge here going on, and I wanted it to pop here this time. It didn't. It came back, double bottomed, and then it took off. But if anyone took that trade there, your stop loss would have been here. Well, actually, your stop loss would have been below this low here. You would have been in the trade, and you would have caught this whole move here. So if you had taken that, well done. Really, really good trade. Keep up the good work. But again, for me, the next area is back down here. For me, the next area is back down here. Yes, I can see that there's a bullish bar today, and this could take off and continue going. But it's not something I'm looking to trade. It's not something I'm looking to get in on. There's a sort of a softer level there at that point, which you could go, oh, that's Henry, that meets my criteria, that meets what I'm doing, which it may. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, and then you trade that along. But for me, it has to come back down into this here. And then the last one I'm going through is Ave. And again, look at that floor. Look at that big hard floor that bounced off of horizontal there. It's bounced once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And well, they do say the sixth time is a charm, isn't it? And it now has popped up off that. But again, look, I want that to come back into sort of decent areas. It's already gone past this level here. It's already gone past that level there. So we wanted to come back into this area here now. And do I expect this one to hold? Nope. The only reason the likes of this and some of these other ones will go is if Bitcoin goes again. So I've always ever traded indexes when I'm trading. I look at the dollar index when I'm trading currencies. I look at the Nasdaq and the S&P when I'm trading US stocks. I look at the FTSE 100 when I'm trading UK stocks. So again, Bitcoin is the index for the other cryptocurrencies. So have a look at it. And if that takes off, then the other ones take off. So beware of pullbacks, jumping in at the high. Wait for them to come back to decent levels that you're happy to invest in. Now, whether this is investing or whether this is trading, be careful. Make sure you don't over risk. And the problem is, if you over risk and you're wrong, you might have to hold on to this for 6 months or a year or 2 years before we get the same movement again. All right, everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Bye bye.